Doesn't usually. Good morning and good afternoon to all of our merry Marvelites. Welcome back to Marvel Movie Talk. We didn't really go anywhere, but we're back live on our Wednesday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern time slot, breaking down the first two episodes of Hawkeye. As always, I am Christian Bladt, and to my right, your left. No, my right, your right. No, I don't know. Over there, Michael Shirley. How are you, sir? It's been a minute.
Yeah, I'm fine. You got to get this stage right, stage left thing down.
That's all right. At least I got the point. You know what I mean? I pointed at you directly, and EAC Butterscotch himself, Eric Connor. We'll talk about the butterscotch, and of course, very excited to have with us today Kate Bishop down there below, and friend.
And friend, my little one-eyed dog friend. Well, she has two eyes, but I felt like it was an okay prop. You're a prop.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
PETA's going to come after you now.
She is. It's okay.
So
I'll save her.
we've got the first two episodes of Hawkeye, and pleasantly surprised that they're both episode length TV shows. They were both right around, one was 49 minutes, the other one was 51 minutes. So we're going to talk about episode 1, Never Meet Your Heroes, and episode 2, Hide and Seek. And we're going to talk about them with the spoilers. So please have watched those, or don't be worried. I mean, it's not super duper spoilery anyway, but we're going to give away basically jokes and stuff. So hopefully you've watched the show. Let's go big picture, overall thoughts. Michael, you don't like anything, so this isn't going to be any different, right?
It's got a slow start. I'll say that.
Okay.
It's got a kind of a slow start, this new show. But Hawkeye's been my favorite Avenger ever since I knew of the Avengers. So I'm giving it some time. Laying out my purple blazer today in honor Clint and Kate. I really do like the artwork and how they really embraced like the last iteration of the comic book, using like the fonts and just the style that was kind of carried out through that run of Clint and Kate. Really nice to see. I always love when the comic books are the forefront of it.
Yeah, and speaking of the Kate Bishop era of Hawkeye, if you read the credits closely, Matt Fraction is listed as a consulting producer, which can mean a lot of different things, that title, but the fact that he's involved, I think, is, if nothing else, a nice gesture. But I definitely like the for what Michael's saying. I think, actually sort of respecting the source material is always important. Overall thoughts for you, Kate, about a show that centers around somebody with the same name as you, although she apparently doesn't spell it correctly.
Well, technically I don't spell it correctly. My full name is Kaitlin, so that's my shortening. I really like, and it occurred to me when I was watching the Black Widow movie, but this is like, I think even more so, like, these are the two superheroes that don't have superpowers. And it's kind of nice to watch, like, people like who are normal that just have to go in and make shit happen. And you have this girl that, I mean, like, I think her mother, who's played brilliantly by Vera Farmiga, but she's fucking great, had that, like, you're gonna get hurt monologue to her. Yeah. And I think that was a nice little setup for, like, it's not gonna always work out for you. And then she meets the person that kind of changed her life or started her on her path, and it's not gonna work out the way she thinks it will. I really enjoyed it. I like the slow start. I think it's okay because people are readjusting to life after the snap. So I think this readjustment of, like, Hawkeye has been 5 years not being a dad and, like, trying to, like, get his footing back with his kids that all still remember him, but, like, he hasn't done it for 5 years, and he has to watch that travesty of a musical about all of his friends.
I love that.
Yeah, I am hoping for an extra either on Disney Plus or on some kind of, if they ever were to for some reason do a Blu-ray release. I would like more of the musical.
I do love the spoofing of Hamilton because it kind of like took over everybody. But this is really hard because Hawkeye is one of my favorite Avengers, and so is Cap, and now because of the movie, so is Natasha. But this new in the Marvel fourth phase, there is a fetishization that's happening with Captain America that I absolutely hate.
Yeah.
And like we're fetishizing him and his symbol, and we're basically turning him back into like a government propaganda thing, which he spent the entire Marvel Cinematic run kind of running away from to just become Steve. And it's kind of being like re-corrupted. And it's like how we glorify old heroes, which I think is like, if they ever talk about it, I think it will be interesting, but I don't think they will. So it's just like, cool, let's just give the Captain America shield to the what's it called? To the Statue
US
of Liberty.
agent.
To Statue of Liberty. Like, it's like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like, let's turn Hamilton into Rogers the Musical because people will like that and they'll think it's funny. But then it turned into a really cool moment of Natasha dancing, or the actress who was playing Natasha dancing, and then him going, "This is my best friend, and she's just a character in something." And I don't think they hit the point hard enough to make a lot of people see that. But there's been Captain America was the hero that died and sacrificed himself, even though he didn't die. And the two people who did sacrifice themselves are kind of being forgotten.
Well, I mean, I think that they deal a lot with Tony being gone in Spider-Man Far From Home. So I think that we do see, but it's just sort of an extension of what you're saying. I think Cap and Tony, and it's really what Kate is talking about in the show in terms of Hawkeye's branding and what people need. And post snap and everything that's happened since, maybe it does feel like that's what people need. We can explore those themes a little bit more deeply, but I did want to ask Uncle Butterscotch over there what he thought of the first two episodes of Hawkeye.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, I've been monogramming my butterscotch for as long as I can remember, so I didn't find that weird at all. And
nor should you.
Especially when they did that little teaser of it in the previously on. I was like, oh, I wonder if that's going to come up.
And why would it?
Because whenever I go and kill someone with a sword, I take their candy. That's how I've always felt.
I do. Yeah.
Your Halloweens must be really entertaining.
A little violent, but yeah, entertaining. People tend to leave with a smile if they leave at all. I found this to be really fun. It to Kate's point, it is like, in essence, this feels like the beginning of Young Avengers right here. Watching someone who's just learning. I liked the sort of clumsiness of her in her initial fight scenes. I thought that was a good choice. And if anything, I almost wish they went a little more with that. Like, that's a wine cellar is a great location for a fight. And I feel like they just scratched the surface of what they could do with that. So I'm itching to see how this thing turns out. By the end of the run, she'll be, I don't know if she's going to be super polished, but at least we'll, I'm sure, get more of a sense, kind of like they did with, Falcon and the Shield. It's like he's going to kind of figure it out. She'll figure it out. Yeah. So far, it's good. It's funny how all of us really like Hawkeye so much, because he was also, for myself, even like Christian, a fellow reader of West Coast Avengers, which originally I thought was called West Coast Avengers, which didn't make much sense. But at the time, I'm like,
sometimes it makes more sense.
Like, I'm not even here. It's fine.
Well, Michael, I've been published in terms of my appreciation of West Coast Avengers.
I was the narrator, by the way. So whatever, but I know all about it. You didn't
really put yourself. That was not a first-person narration. You were
also. I want to. Michael, you look fabulous today.
I was going for like kind of like this K-pop like Hawkeye vibe, but I just feel like Ellen DeGeneres.
Or what
Don't
was
go
that
with the
called?
feeling. Go with what the intention was, because
Yeah.
you look
Drop-
great.
Said I
drop
need to
dead Fred.
dance. What?
You don't need
If
to do
guys remember
anything,
Drop
Michael. You're
Dead
perfect.
Fred.
Okay, wait. Everybody's talking at the same time. So you're saying that he looks like Right Said Fred?
Drop Dead Fred.
Drop Dead Fred, Rick Mayall. That is actually accurate. I'm like, I didn't think he looks like Right Said Fred at all, but Drop
He will
Dead
next
Fred.
week.
Yeah. That's next week. Right Said
I
Fred.
love
will
a
be the one.
theme.
So a couple of things from the chat. Daniel Drew wants the full musical. Kame Egan
No.
says Rogers is the musical we didn't know we wanted.
No.
Yeah, let me amend. I don't want the full musical,
I
but
do.
I'd like a couple of songs.
I hate
espe-
musicals.
I can
And
do
love
this
that.
all day.
Yeah, and the Hulk smash in there.
God.
So
You know who
yeah,
wasn't there? Ant-Man.
yeah. Well, he
couldn't
was in Times
stand
Square.
up.
Really small.
Yeah, he was in Times Square though, so that was pretty good. So
He was
That
at
was
Sbarro's.
Well, yeah, because
Sbarro.
if you want a real New York slice of pizza, obviously you go to Sbarro's in Times Square. So the interesting thing about this series is that one of the executive producers and the writer of the first episode is actually somebody my wife went to college with. And his name's Jonathan Ikla. And I don't know, I first met him 18 years ago. So there are a couple of things in this show that I'm like, oh yeah, he crowbarred these in there. The musical being the first, and the actual LARPing sequence. I'm like, oh yeah, he was probably like, we got to get a LARPing sequence in there. But it is somebody that when I first knew him, we did bond over talking about comic books. So it is exciting when people get these opportunities who do actually love the source material and sort of that. I just wanted to circle back to what we were saying, that's apparent with the fact that they're just using the logo is a very nice touch. But in general, I think that the show is mostly fun. I wonder if by the time we're 6 episodes through and it's all said and done, will it have been a little too light in trying to be silly? But right so far, it's okay. I'm just sort of wondering, are they going to be able to balance it? Kame Egan, I really do not like the Kate Bishop character because she's an overprivileged dumb brat. I love Haley Steinfeld and hope her character is better developed. So you like her better you like her better in Bumblebee, where she was not a spoiled brat. Yeah, she was poor.
I think it's hard though to create, because like a lot of these characters that we like in comic books do come from a privileged background. I mean, Iron Man was a privileged kid, and he had to be captured in the desert, which at the end of episode 2, she is captured.
Yeah.
But like you have Batman, you've got all of these people that come from money that have to turn it around and find something to fight for. And I do think that there's a part of America that likes that story of the privileged eating a piece of humble pie.
Well, that is her story too, though. Like,
and it is her story,
so you just got to deal with it, Kame.
And so I actually really enjoy. I think I'm going to really enjoy, especially because Haley Steinfeld is giving a sense of humor to the role and a little bit of surprise. Like, she doesn't know quite why she's there. She kind of like gets into these situations and then realizes she's neck deep in something she doesn't quite understand, which I think is really refreshing because other male characters who have gone through that have not had that moment. And I think she's really good at the and so like I'm really excited to see what Haley Steinfeld does to a character that we're not quite like bred to like, in a way.
Yeah, no, I can see that point. And honestly, what I think is what I wanted to focus on was the fact that I think that the reason these 2 episodes are enjoyable because she's clearly the right choice for this part as an actress. And to the extent that I believe they waited a full year to actually go into production on this show, and that that is that's what happens when you're Kevin Feige. You're able to be like, no, we're just not going to make that show yet. Just go ahead and write it, and then we'll film it whenever. But and
Didn't
I
they do
think
that with Doctor Strange? Because Benedict Cumberbatch was doing Sherlock at the time.
yeah,
And
I
they
think he was trying to really nail that American accent, and then they realized he never was going to, so they might as well just start running the cameras. But
Oh, but it
Christian,
burns.
Christian, you've never been to that part of New York that actually where everyone speaks that way. Shows up a lot in film.
No,
It's just
no.
like a 1 by 1 block radius.
It's that one
Or
block
square.
where everyone, you know what? It's the mini
It's next to the
borough within the borough.
Sbarros.
Yeah, right.
Right.
It is definitely upstairs from the Sbarros. But what since Cammie brought it up, what do we think of Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop, not our Kate? What do you think, just from a performance standpoint? I'll ask you first, Michael.
I didn't really know what to expect from a Kate Bishop. She is so kind of new in the continuity of the comics. I felt like a lot of people could have probably played her. But saying that, I love Haley Steinfeld in Bumblebee, and the way she's able to be such a completely different character, yet looking very similar. They haven't made her like a blonde or anything like that, so she's still got that same kind of look, but the characters are so different. I think she's done a really good job so far. I, like Eric, do really like the way she's playing things, kind of messing everything up straight from the bell, which I think that whole bell scene, I was like, oh, that's something that would happen to me. So I just was kind of, like, I was like, okay. But yeah, I as I was watching, I felt like I wasn't thinking about people acting. I wasn't, like, everyone's doing a good job.
Yeah, no, I agree. And by the
I
way,
like seeing failure in the
I've been
Marvel
calling-
universe.
Yeah, that's true. This level of failure. I've been calling the panel of this show my own personal tracksuit mafia for a long time, and I'm glad that the term is finally starting to catch on. It is trending this morning. But Eric, performance wise, I think that believe we've talked about this with some of the other series. Your best first episodes of shows really help kind of give the audience feeling the perspective of, wow, this is a lot to take in all at once. And I think her disorientation just sort of helps us, because it's like, well, we kind of know, we know something really important that she doesn't know, which is that Clint was Ronin. I mean, it's why it's also important, I suppose. And I did see that you raised that question, Eric. So talk a little bit though about some of the portrayals, and then I'll ask you the same, Kate, after our friend Eric finishes.
Sure. Once again, Marvel gets just such great actors for these roles, and yeah, they do go after stars, but they really care. And we talked about this yesterday when we were going through Hit Monkey. It's like getting the right person for the right part. Because Michael, you're right. Like, a lot of people could have played Kate Bishop, but she is a really interesting actress. She can sort of play these various elements of Kate without us feeling like we're watching an actor trying to do it. I do think sometimes the script, maybe the tone of it, sometimes felt just a little off. Where, I don't know, when she's like talking to herself, I was like, but it's no mark against her, because you do have a character who could be coming off as a total ridiculously entitled, spoiled kid, and yet somehow she doesn't. And you could have someone who might come off as too ditzy, but she doesn't. She comes off as smart. And it's funny, when they said she was 22, that took me a moment, because I honestly thought she was younger. But then I realized, if she always had everything kind of given to her, even though she does work, even though she has her own place, which I'm sure would be ridiculously expensive to get, but she on her own doesn't live like in a palace, So I think she, however, would be a little bit like a 22-year-old who's more like a 19-year-old. which is what it feels like she's playing it as, at least for my taste. And she's great. I mean, she is worth the wait. And our top 3 actors here have all been nominated for Oscars, which again, we take it for granted because Marvel gets everyone who's been nominated for an Oscar, but that's something that it's still like what that does with every scene is it escalates. I mean, that mom character could have been such a one-note role, but then the way, she's played, she is interesting. Yeah, she's a wonderful actress. And so there's so much to her that I don't think was necessarily on the page that the actor found. So, I'm very happy. And Jeremy Renner, I've always loved him in this role. I know there's been, I think in this crowd, a little bit of a mixed reaction to him in the part, or at least the writing of it. But I think
the problem has usually been with what Hawkeye was given to do the first few times he was on screen, and it's not nearly enough. Kate, same name, different spelling, but how do you feel about the focus being on Haley Steinfeld, Kate Bishop for the show? How do you think she does?
I really enjoy it, and what I enjoy about the writing of this and what I enjoy about the characterization of it is it harkens back, I think, to the best part of Hawkeye, which was, at this point, the snap has happened. He's lost his best friend. He's lost the Avengers. He's trying to be a family man, which it was always a part of his character. But, and I really like that they put in, and he's doing a really good job at favoring his left ear when in conversation. I don't know if anyone's noticing that, because they're putting in that, which is from the comics, that Hawkeye becomes deaf and he becomes one of the major deaf superheroes, which, the start of Echo is gonna be like, sorry. Okay. Fine. I think what's really cool about the characterization of it is my major I love Hawkeye moment came in Age of Ultron, which I still think is an underrated movie, but it's okay. Because it's okay that he didn't have a lot to do in the first Avengers because he was, mind freaked. And then he was the only one, because he knew what was going to happen, that could take care of everybody. And he took on that role as like a father figure to the Avengers when they all needed him the most. And he definitely became a father figure for Wanda. And I think the major moment was, it's like he, with a young girl who's out of her depth, going, the city is flying, we're fighting robots, and I have a bow and arrow. None of this makes sense. And I think that that's what they're trying to pull back to, of like, yes, he's been through all of this trauma, and yes, it's changed him as a person, but they're putting him with a young girl who is out of her depth, who is trying her best and wants to be a hero and doesn't know how. And so he's back into this like father figure role with a young girl that can like kind of like give him a little bit more humor, that can bring out the best of him. So I really like that the Hawkeye that I love is coming back, but in a different way than it's coming back in the way I wanted, but also in the way that I didn't know I needed. So I really love Jeremy Renner being challenged like this, going back to what we loved about Hawkeye. I like Haley Steinfeld being challenged by coming into this very intimidating universe with the support of this great supporting cast. And Vera is great. I mean, she's an incredible performer. And I'm really happy that in previous Marvel movies, the other mom character has kind of like gone by the wayside. I'm thinking about Ant-Man in particular, even though she's also great. But it's nice to have like the single mom figure have a voice and have a role and have those subtleties. So I'm really excited with the cast, and I'm really excited with, that we get an archery movie or a TV show. It's going to be really cool.
The last time we saw Vera Farmiga play a single mom was on Bates Motel. So I do hope that this ends a little bit better for everyone involved.
No, I think it should end just as badly.
Well, it might, and we'll get to some theories along the way.
Bishop keeps her at home, like by the window,
in the rain. And that's fabulous. And we have to give credit to the fabulous freaking red dress that deserves its own supporting, like that flowy thing going through the hall. Don't sneer at me, Michael. It was great.
Where's the red dress? where's the red dress that Kate was supposed to put on? You know, her mom apparently had a lovely red dress for her. So I was like, great, we're going to get that. And she's like, that's not me. I want to blend in with the help is basically what they were going for because of how many times people asked her, but that turned out to be very convenient. In terms of some of the other characters, I think that I find the mom character, I don't even know if we know her first name, but I think they gave it to us, but her mom's fiance, they're dropping some very enormous breadcrumbs, including the aforementioned monogram butterscotch, which is why I think that he did not kill his uncle. And because
Eleanor, the mom's name is Eleanor.
Is her name. I can't imagine that he'd be that dumb to like, oh yeah, I grabbed these from there, you know, but it is his uncle. So he maybe did grab butterscotch another time, but boy, he does have that retractable knife. So while it would make sense for him to do it, I wonder, did mom kill him? Did Vera Farmiga kill him? Because she was having a problem with him earlier in the episode. So so just because he's hiding his fencing prowess doesn't mean that he's a murderer.
Right.
And I think it's an interesting character from a writing standpoint, but the performance is leaving something to be desired so far is really what I'm getting at. I was hoping for a little more, you know, he wasn't, if the actor had been cast as one of the LARPers, that would have been great. But maybe it's all just to sort of, you know, create this sort of, I don't know. I mean, he's playing against Haley Steinfeld, and I think that he's bringing an arrow to a gunfight, you know. But I don't know. Am I wrong, Michael? If you don't like someone, I know you'll be the first to chime in with it. Did he not bother you? Is it just me?
I mean, he kind of seems like he needs to be in one of those like silly like Old Spice commercials or something, or like selling like
look at your Avenger now, back at me. Now back at your Avenger.
Man alive or whatever. Yeah, like I don't know. He seems like he needs to be in some like kitschy commercial, but I'm kind of amused by him, I guess.
I can see that.
Not so much Vera. I know Kate's like really holding a candle for her today.
I know. I'm sorry. I just.
Hey,
but what if it turns out that she's a murderer? Won't that be cool?
That would be great.
I think that's probably more likely what's going on. Honestly, yeah. I think she is a really great actress at what that one note she hits all the time. She's, you know, like she's always the same character to me a little bit. Like even in The Conjuring, is like you call her when you want like a passive aggressive, like angry, like wasp, you know.
That's
like,
a great way to describe that, though.
And I feel like they wouldn't have called her in unless she's a big bad.
I think so.
Yeah. Somebody, the chat is theorizing.
Daniel Drew.
Yeah, Daniel Drew says that would like her to become Madame Mask, and Kame Egan, assuming Eleanor is going to be one of the I assume main villains, not mail order villains, but that's an interesting theory for sure.
That's where they got Armand.
Armand.
Can we talk about Armand for just a moment? Like, so, however ridiculous the boyfriend is, Armand puts them all to shame. Like,
what about Armand the Seventh?
Armand the Seventh.
Armand the Seventh is sassy AF. He's just like
he's getting his own show next year.
I was trying to figure out the generations and how they're naming people too.
Well, they could do like George Foreman, where all four of his sons are named George.
I'm going to name my new one George.
Isn't it the first in the line? So it's like if Simon Callow is Armand the Fourth or whatever, right? Or Armand the Fourth.
So then
we're missing 3 generations.
Well, the other guy's the nephew. Right. So it just seems like whoever's born gets named Armand.
Yes,
they're all Armand.
each generation needs an Armand.
Stop
But
trying
the
to
only
make Armand happen.
the only
It's never
Armand
gonna
I've ever
happen.
needed is Armand Asante. But
He showed up. That actor was like, I am going to take over this entire Marvel universe with one scene. Like the first time we meet him, he's like, "You know Armand. Armand believes in these things."
Yeah.
And it's like,
You come to my brownstone for brunch.
He name checks himself. I mean, I love that. What are you going to tell Uncle Armand? I'm like, I'm terrified.
That when I was watching
this,
Armand. Is it weird that when I was watching this last night, when Armand came on, I'm like, Michael Shirley might hate all of this episode, but he's definitely gonna like this.
He's gonna like Armand.
He will become Uncle Armand in 10 years.
I think just like Armand, one day Michael Shirley will be the sassiest bidder at a black market auction. Just like, you don't have any money.
And I love that life for you, Michael. I want it for you so bad. I just know you're in my thoughts.
I really felt for him when he kept upping at 50. I was like, dude, I would have like probably like, I don't know, like, you know.
How about a black market dealing in a wine cellar? Like, that's kind of baller. Like, the idea of, they're so rich that they have a wine cellar that's up on, like, the, whatever, 50th floor. So it's not even a cellar. But they made it into a cellar.
It was downstairs,
it's underneath because
she went through the kitchen.
Yeah,
she went through the kitchen and, somebody like drove a truck. Yeah.
I watched a different
somebody drove a truck up to the door.
Yes.
Which I feel like that first fight scene that was brought up earlier of like, you had a wine cellar and it's a great place to have a cool, clumsy fight. And I feel like that was the like, you have a wine cellar, but we can't touch anything. Like, it was like something in the location. Yeah. It was like, you can't break anything.
I did like the reality that, you know, you've seen this every once in a while in things. The difficulty Kate had breaking wine bottles over people. And I don't think it has anything to do with her age, her gender, her fighting style. No, it's just really hard to break a bottle over somebody's head.
Really?
So, who knows?
Okay.
It is. And I do feel like it was part of like we've seen it in the movies and it doesn't work in real life because every time a glass is broken in the movies, because we actually did have to do it in a show that I was on, it is fake glass.
Sure.
Because real glass doesn't like shatter that way. And it just like, it's just so funny.
Oh yeah. I had a bottle thrown at me in Philadelphia because that's what happens in Philadelphia. I was just walking down the street.
The Eagles lost. Am I right? The Eagles lost.
It didn't even matter. It didn't even matter. It wasn't even football season. I got hit with a bottle, and it didn't break. It fucked up my knee a little, but it did not break. So
I believe
firsthand.
I believe Santa threw it at you because he was mad about getting booed at the Eagles game. So Eric, I know you only have a couple of moments before you become the Hawkeye to a whole room full of Kate Bishops. So tell us any final overall thoughts and maybe hopes for the rest of this little mini 6-episode season that we're going to get.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, when you see an actor of Vera Farmiga's, and I had no idea how to pronounce her last name, when you see her name on something that is a role that could be played by others, unfortunately, that's when you're like, she's probably got more of a villain side to her. Not to mention, Kate had to get some of this skill from someone.
And she owns a security company.
Yeah, no, exactly. A security company that does some really sketchy security, mind you.
Yeah.
Like tracking phones and whatnot. So, there's much more stuff to her, which it seems inevitable, but still to give her that to play, you know, I am sad that she is the Kaitlin Han school of Michael Shirley dislikes, but that could change. You know, Michael's young.
She can't even reach that low.
You're saying that she's incapable. You're saying she's incapable of reaching Kaitlin Han level. By the way, the Agatha All Along song was nominated for a Grammy. Also Showtime
dropped the Joan Rivers movie before it even like happened.
Oh, really?
So whatever.
Oh,
so wait, they're not making it? Is that what you're saying? Or?
Not with Kaitlin Han.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I'm
Jewish enough.
So sad.
Not Jewish enough. Sarah Silverman.
I've seen her play a rabbi. She passes. She's fine.
Is that why Sarah Silverman did that whole thing about?
Yeah.
Well, she did that, and then they dropped her from the project.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Well,
that's a little weird. Well, so whether or not they include Hanukkah in this show is fine with me. I like the Christmas feels.
Oh, I thought we were talking about
Hanukkah.
Catherine Hanukkah for some
Catherine
reason.
Hanukkah.
Catherine Hanukkah. Yes, that is
Beautiful.
what I'm buying Michael Shirley. I don't know what it will be, but it will
it'll
be labeled that.
Be labeled Catherine Hanukkah.
You know,
Catherine
I
Hanukkah.
do hope they turn up the heat. Well, here's the thing: like
8
the
days of
villains were
Catherine Hahn.
goofy. What's that?
Nothing. I'm just making a joke. Go away. Go for it.
8 crazy
Go
nights of
away.
Catherine Hanukkah.
Bye.
Oh my god! I'm sorry.
No, you know, I think like the villains were a little bit comic book-ish, but not in a Marvel comic recent Hawkeye run kind of way, but someone a group that the old Batman show would have fought.
No, the Tracksuit Mafia, and I said this in the chat a moment ago. They felt like the crew from Barry, the HBO series.
Yeah.
Because you know they're just like
Hank.
They're all no Hank. It's very hard to find warehouse these days.
Yeah,
You know, and I mean it was funny, but I was like, was this from somebody's Barry spec script, and they figured out a way to get it into this show?
You know,
I just didn't want to go to the Port Authority.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I kept thinking it was USA Network kind of tone. You know, and I'm talking pre Mr. Robot, like those shows like Burn Notice.
Like VIP.
Right.
Yes.
Not quite VIP, although I would not be opposed to that, I will admit, Michael. But I do hope it gets maybe a wee bit darker. It would not lose the fun. I think Jeremy Renner is at just the perfect pitch for this thing. So I kind of hope all the other kind of elements get a little closer to that.
Oh, he's Danny Glover, Hawkeye. Yeah. He's 2 weeks away from retirement, and he's getting too old for this shit.
I told you, it's the whole Benjamin Button thing going on with Jeremy Renner.
That's true.
I don't know if he's going in or going out.
We'll continue the conversation. We will, of course, there's some people excited in the chat that we spend some time talking about our canine friend, but we must bid adieu to Eric. If people want to keep in touch with you, Eric, where do they do that?
Well, you could celebrate your Thanksgiving with me and my various butterscotches at Count Eric Connor, hanging out on Twitter and Instagram. Happy holidays, one and all, and to all a good day.
All right. We'll see you next Wednesday. Eric, off to talk about VIP to aspiring film writers, and that's really where they should reference and get all their ideas from. So, Kate, you're the one who brought the dog to the party. We do want to hear about the dog. I mean, I think that feeling, an adorable one-eyed dog, I think that's cute, and we saw him in the trailer, and he's in some of the artwork for the show. Does anybody besides me think that dog ate the watch that they were looking for? Because we didn't see him do it, but it sure was, that was again some very kibble-sized breadcrumbs there. I'm like, all right, so is he pooping out that watch at some point? And why does somebody want a watch from Avengers Tower? I guess we'll find out. If it was one of Tony's watches, I guess it makes sense. But Kate, did you watch it with your dog friend there? And apologies that I don't remember, because I know this is your dog sitting. Flux, yes.
Capacitor.
Yeah. Did Flux watch with you?
Yes, she was not interested.
Oh, okay.
She was upset that there was another dog that was cuter than her for a few minutes.
Boo.
I know. She's great.
What do we think about the inclusion of the one-eyed pup? And did he or she eat the watch, Kate?
I think what's good about these TV shows, as opposed to like making a Hawkeye movie, is you can actually put in some of these details. And now that we're talking about the dog, and now the dog's moving, we can put in some of these details that I don't know if you could put, like, they become details and not just Easter eggs, because you can actually spend more time on them. And so to include the little one-eyed dog, which is in the comic books, I can't remember the name, it's fun. It's as opposed to just like, oh, he's in the background of a movie and we have to have a recurring character of this dog and get a dog wrangler every time. We need him.
Regarding the watch, Daniel Drew says Nerdist suggested it might be Tony's watch from Civil War that turns into the suit.
Yeah,
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah,
I'm on the same train.
So what? Maybe the dog's gonna cough and then get a dog shaped Iron Man suit, which to get the Iron Dog series as a spinoff would be something. But Michael, what are the things that we're talking about? Some of these little touches, like the dog. What are some of the things? And personally, I found it endearing that this series is set at Christmas time, and then we had some Christmas music over the end titles of the first episode. I'm all in for it. I read a quote from Kevin Feige that he hopes that people will watch this series as a holiday tradition. They'll watch it every Christmas. And to that, I say, settle down. Let's see how it ends.
Yes,
let's see how it goes. Yeah.
That makes me think that this is going to be a one-off.
Yeah, I think I think it probably
they'll put
is.
Kate and other things, but like this is going to be a 6-hour wrap up of Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye. And I like that they're giving characters who need emotional closure from Endgame that emotional time. So this makes me think that this is going to be Jeremy Renner's last run in the MCU.
So you think we won't see him in any of the films hereafter?
I don't think so.
Interesting. Well, I said that I am getting a 2 weeks away from retirement vibe out of him. What do you think, Michael? Do you think that he's one of the only original Avengers still with us? He and Bruce.
Isn't there another one?
Well, Thor, but he's not on Earth. But yes,
Thor's on the movie train, and he's with the Guardians, and now probably the Eternals.
Yeah, that's true, probably. But what do you think? Do you think that that this will be the swan song for Jeremy Renner? And if so, are they going to kill him?
I was kind of thinking about that when I was watching it. I don't think they will kill him. I think they'll actually let him have a normal life until they maybe need him again. Like someone mentioned in the comments, old man Hawkeye. Like, who knows? Like, maybe he'll go completely deaf. Maybe he'll go blind. Like, I don't think they'll kill him. I don't know if I think this will be the last we see of him in regards to like the immediate future. I think maybe we might get him in one more movie, but I wouldn't say more than one more.
I also just remembered I think I have to take something back, that because Yelena's going after him.
Oh yeah, that's true. And
it's
there's always a chance.
If they're going to kill him, that she's going to be successful, and Kate Bishop is going to go on a freaking
Yeah. Well,
I think we might see Yelena in this show.
That's actually what I was going to say next.
And then do another movie.
Yeah, the idea that we would get Yelena in this show, I think, is what a lot of people thought after that end credits scene from Black Widow, which if you haven't seen, shame on you at this point. I don't need to say spoiler alert for that. It's on Disney Plus. You should have watched it. It's been on Disney Plus for a while.
Even I've seen it.
Yeah, and Michael still hasn't seen the last Spider-Man movie.
But I saw Shang-Chi last night.
Did you like it? Did you like it up until they jumped the dragon, as it were?
I love the dragon. I love all of the old Chinese folk
great
mythical creatures.
You and Jeff are going to do a whole show about that sequence.
The Hundun, I love Morris, I guess is what they call him. That's that is literally what wontons are based off of, are these faceless weird creatures. I'm not even kidding. No.
Yeah.
My high school, I basically lived in a Chinese restaurant when I wasn't at school, so I know all this fun stuff, and I really enjoyed all of that.
Cool.
I had a big problem with Sean or whatever we want to call him. I had a problem with him being kind of front and center. I didn't feel like the backstory was enough. It was not enough for me to invest in him. Yeah. He was just kind of right out of the gate, Mr. Personality, and that was kind of supposed to be enough. I think he seemed too well adjusted to have the past that he'd had. When you got Bruce Wayne types, who are, I just didn't really get how the kid ended up into the 24-year-old guy we get.
Yeah. No, I think that it doesn't necessarily match up, but you're right. We could have used more of that. But
yeah, I
I'm glad
liked
you
it.
got to
I
see it.
liked
Though.
Shang-Chi. I did it. I did like it.
Okay. Let's circle back because Daniel Drew says, I'd like a season 2 of this, but if a West Coast Avengers spins out of this, that would be fine. Which Michael and I are. Look, as long as you give me as long as you give me Wonder Man, you don't even have to explain it. You just
I
start
don't know
the
why
show.
you like him so much.
Because of his movie star good looks and his red and green costume that he had in the 80s, his Christmas tree costume with the jetpack.
No one remembers that one except you.
Well,
It's
I'm
all
glad
about like that black and red one.
Yeah, that's the one that people tend to think of. In any case, I don't know. I mean, I know that that's sort of the expectation. So maybe
Is it?
Clint. No. The idea that this is a one and done.
Okay.
But also the expectation that, maybe we will see Yelena in this. If for some reason we don't, then I think we, as Kate pointed out, we will have to see Clint
Hawkeye again.
For them to deal with this. But for them, if they get to like episode 4 and they feel like they've wrapped up everything, they've settled the whole Ronin thing, and Clint's on the way to the hospital. On the way to the airport to fly home, and then Yelena shows up, and that's what the last 2 episodes are. I think that would be great, But I guess we'll have to see where it all goes. But I do think that seeing Clint Barton regularly is something that I think we're not going to get much of. I agree with Michael that I don't know that they will kill him. Maybe he will lose an eye and he will take the one-eyed dog as sort of his spirit animal.
I don't think he's taking the dog anywhere.
Yeah, well, I don't think Kate's going to let him.
I don't think Kate's going to let him either.
Either Kate. But I think that he actually gets to spend time with his family. But then there will come a time where maybe we do get an old man Hawkeye. That I don't know. I think that I would be disappointed if they killed him, especially.
I would be too.
In this idea of like, I've got 5 days to get home for Christmas, But
I also really love that they've set up a timeline where it's every episode is going to be one day.
Yeah.
So I actually really enjoy that because they keep setting up. It's like it's 6 days until the holidays and 6 days till Christmas, and we've got 6 episodes. So it's going to be interesting to just see how they utilize time because the other ones, especially Loki, have screwed with time. So it's kind of nice to like have something that's like slightly normal. And I think they're doing slightly normal a little bit better than Falcon and the Winter Soldier did.
I think that's fair. But we could still get a bank manager scene. So I've got my fingers crossed for that.
Let it go.
So Ivan wanted to know if we noticed that Nathaniel used sign language. Yes. And Clint was communicating with him. And I believe that'll clearly be relevant because our big boss lady is clearly someone who communicates via sign, because the thug was talking to her that way, and she's just blaring the music. So it'll be interesting to see how that comes into play. There's definitely foreshadowing aplenty throughout these 2 episodes. And then Daniel Drew, I still think these shows should be at least 10 episodes each. 6 does seem a bit too few for introducing Kate and saying goodbye to Clint. Well, we may not say goodbye to him forever, but I know what you mean. I think that when you look at it as like not a 6-hour movie, but like a 5.5-hour movie or whatever it'll end up being, I think it'll feel like enough. I think, 10 episodes might work for certain stories, but some of those seasons of the Netflix series, they were really focused on getting to 13 episodes, and there was a lot of spinning of the wheels. So I think they map out how long they think these stories need to be, but I guess we'll have to go from there. figure it out. But and Ivan is asking, nope, why is Echo a villain? But we'll see. And I believe that's who that character is Echo, who we know is going to be one of the upcoming series that was announced on Disney Plus Day.
Wait, what? I like Phoenix Echo?
If you're talking about Phoenix, you're talking about
Phoenix
either,
is Echo.
I don't know anything about that. Phoenix is two people for me, Jean Grey or Rachel Summers, or / Rachel Grey, but they're the same person. To me, that those are the only Phoenixes I need to know about. But I guess we'll just have to see where it goes and who she is, and that's who I think that character is, though, from the show. But they definitely do a good job in terms of serialized storytelling, because each of the episodes ended in a good cliffhangery way, and this one they're caught, and of course Clint was trying to get caught, and Kate comes for not a particularly good rescue, and ends up getting caught herself. So I think it'll be fun. The show feels like it's going to be fun. There'll probably be some heavy moments. I think Kate's going to really have to deal with some family issues, even if her mom isn't the big bad that I think we all think she is. There's still this guy she's engaged to that, even if he didn't murder his uncle, he's got a fixation with swords that could be something for us to think about. Overall thoughts and expectations, hopes for what we get out of the next 4 episodes, Michael.
I think that we might see a little bit of jealousy come into play when the kids find out that their dad's been off with a new kid.
Yeah.
I think that might cause some Christmas chaos. I think that we're going to see Yelena. I think we're definitely going to see her, given that weren't all those guys in tracksuits Russian?
Yeah, I think you're right.
His name was Ivan, but they're all named Ivan.
Yeah.
If that girl or woman at the very end of the episode is Echo, I don't even know what I think, because that could mean some Vincent D'Onofrio tie-in.
Yeah, I doubt we get that, but boy, that would be great.
I mean, she's the adoptive daughter of the Kingpin.
Yes.
Right.
So I don't know. Did she have a handprint on her face?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
That doesn't mean she won't end up with one.
Why are people saying that that's her, though? Did they call her Echo?
No, I'm just wondering.
For me, it was because of the speakers around her, and that she was touching them. And she was, so it was the kind of she's feeling the vibrations of what's around her, which is why I think it's Echo, and I think why a lot of people
that's the same thought I had.
I just looked it up, and that's what people are theorizing. I think that would be really big, because like I just said, in the current Marvel comic run, it's Phoenix song Echo.
Yeah.
She's I mean, that could be a mutant thing. Like, I don't know. I
didn't even think about that.
I don't know. I don't really know what to think. I'm probably like a bad time to ask me what I think is going to happen, because now I'm like all confused.
Yeah, and if you're right, if it is Echo and Vera Farmiga, the mom, Eleanor, is villain, it's going to be. I think they're doing it's going to be cool to have a show with female villains.
Well, and here's the thing too. Daniel Drew just bringing the real world knowledge. I recognized the actress as the one who was cast as Echo.
Okay, so
we do know that that's a series. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's legit.
So that's the answer to that. Yeah, which I suppose that Daniel Drew always doing the homework that I don't think to do. So thank you. And Ivan makes a great point that there's almost never a good guy named Ivan. It's true.
No, and freaking Triple X. They're both named Ivan.
Well,
but in real life, they're totally harmless people.
Totally, in real life. So I'm interested in seeing where it goes. I hope that they manage to keep the fun, but looks like things are going to get a little serious. I do want Clint to get home in time for Christmas with his family, so hopefully that happens. And I think Kate's gonna probably find herself cut off from the family fortune, and we'll see where that sends her.
Yeah.
But maybe her and Yelena head off at the end of the series. Who knows? We'll have to see where it all goes. In our final moment, Kate, is there anything specific? Because I asked Michael, is there anything specific you're hoping for that we haven't mentioned? That anything that you're hoping that we get to see?
I am hoping that in episode 4 or 5 is when they're going to reveal, or when it's going to become known to Kate that Hawkeye was Ronin. So her hero becomes her kind of like, not enemy, but like her hero betrays her in a way and kind of like lets her down. And that letdown moment is going to help her like rise into, sometimes you have to do, and also help him deal with like, sometimes you have to do bad things in order to,
the first episode is called Never Meet Your Heroes. So,
Never Meet Your Heroes. And he hasn't revealed yet that he is Ronin, and why he's so attached to, keeping her away from his legacy, not just as Hawkeye, but as Ronin. But it's also, he's got to be okay with someone taking over for him. And I think that's going to be a really interesting blowout between those two characters, especially since there's a mentorship happening with them. And then it's going to be like, but you lied to me, and like, it's slightly predictable, but I think it's going to be still really great, depending on, where they take that relationship. And it's going to be really tough with that relationship. I think they're going to go more into, not more into the disability, but more into how it affects him. It doesn't seem to affect his fighting style, but it's still going to be a part of the show, ingrained in the show, the same way that Makari did it in Eternals, which I'm really happy that there are some, and especially with him being with Echo, I'm really happy that there were some deaf superheroes that are happening, even deaf villains. Really cool. I think Lucky the Pizza Dog is going to have something.
Yeah.
Lucky the Pizza Dog is going to have a role to play in this. I think Ivan, the guy who opens his mask, because we get a full shot of his face, is going to play later. Whether it's a romantic interest or not, I'm not sure. I think that Tony Dalton is not who he says he is. I think we've been kind of set up to think he's the bad guy, and I don't think it will end up that way. I think, I don't know how, but I feel like he's going to have a weird like allyship with the Bishops, and I don't know how.
Yeah, no, because I
feel
think
like it's
right.
like people are not who they say they are. Like, Hawkeye is also Ronin. The mom who's supposed to protect her is also the bad guy. The guy who we thought was sleazy with the freaking rose in the mouth thing is, I feel like people are not who they say they are, and it's going to surprise everybody. So I feel like I'm willing to be predictably surprised. And there was one Easter egg that I want to mention,
Sure.
which was her screen name, the Bishop 11, 2012. And it was the first cover date where Kate Bishop and Lucky first appeared in the storyline.
Oh, nice. I like that.
Yeah, it's not random numbers; it's real.
Okay. Yeah. No,
I
I like
was just
it.
like, because me with the numbers, I'm like, anytime a number appears in the Marvel universe, I'm like, what the fuck is it?
You gotta put it up on the big board. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to the next month of Hawkeye, leading right into Christmas time, and it'll be fun to cover that here. Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. And for those of you who have not yet seen it, yesterday Eric and I did a special on Hitmonkey. All 10 episodes are on Hulu. It'll take you about 4 hours and 15 minutes to watch all 10 of them. We were both surprised at how much we liked the show and how much heart it had, and how great the characters were. And it has a phenomenal voice cast. We really enjoyed Hitmonkey, and we weren't expecting to, neither one of us. I mean, I didn't think I was going to hate it, but I think that people should check it out, then check out our show. but we will be back next Wednesday. And until then, Kate, how do people keep in touch with you?
They keep in touch with me here at Cornellable on Instagram and TikTok. Yeah, drop me a line.
Right,
Talk
because
more nerd stuff with me.
you usually your day job keeps you from hanging out with us as much as you'd like. So
Yeah.
we have you sporadically, but
But the cool thing about it almost being the holidays is not only do I get to, you know, get Hawkeye every Tuesday at midnight / Wednesday, is there's going to be less time that I will be on set. So it's going to be very lovely.
Wonderful.
Immensely.
And Michael, everybody loves Michael Shirley. So how do they keep in touch with you?
You can find me on Instagram at I Hate Michael Shirley or on Twitter at Michael X Shirley.
It's delightful to have had everybody back who is back today, and our pal Jeff will be with us when he can. He is a mover and shaker going to the Great White North for a few weeks, but hopefully we've got everybody to talk Spider-Man No Way Home before the end of the year. But keep in touch with me at Christian DMZ. Subscribe to the Blackcast YouTube channel, where 10 minutes from right now, we'll be doing our political show, Biden Time. Scott and I will be there. So we will probably spend the whole time talking about turkeys getting pardoned every year, because it's nice that 2 turkeys always get to live while the rest of them are delicious. Thanks so much to everybody in the live chat. We'll see you next week. But until then, as the great Stan Lee would say, Excelsior!